Good morning and welcome back to NASA's Johnson Space Center for today's mission status briefing. It's flight day 11 of the STS-134 space shuttle mission to the International Space Station. And for an update of, or a recap of today's activities on board the shuttle and station complex, we have the lead space station flight director for the flight, Derek Hausman. Again, we'll start out with opening comments and then take questions. Derek?
Okay, thanks, Kylie. Good morning, everybody. Well, as Kylie mentioned, we're just wrapping up flight day 11. As I was leaving the control center, the folks in the station side were just starting their evening daily planning conference with Ron Guerin and the rest of the station crew. We started out today with docked late inspection. And of course, the shuttle crew uses the space shuttle robotic arm, grapples the orbiter boom sensor system, and then uses that OBSS to inspect all areas of the shuttle thermal protection system. The crew actually got started early on that procedure and thus finished early, which was a great help on a pretty busy day. It allowed the EVA crew that's going to be conducting EVA-4 tomorrow to get started on their preparation activities a little earlier. The dock late inspection procedures were completed all nominally. The data is all on the ground. The expectation is that by the 1 o'clock MMT here in Houston, that there will be a discussion of the preliminary results, and the expectation is that within the next 18 or 20 hours that all the imagery will have been analyzed, and the expectation is that we'll clear the vehicle, give it a good clean bill of health in terms of the orbiter TPS. You may recall that the reason that we're doing this docked late inspection as opposed to the typical late inspection, which is scheduled post-undock, is that on EVA-4, we're actually taking the OBSS from the orbiter and stowing it on station where it will remain for the life of the station. And I'll talk some more about that when I get into the EVA-4 details. Additionally, today, once that dock late inspection is complete, Greg Shamatov continued his work on the oxygen generation system on station. We talked in my briefing 2 days ago about the fact that Shamatov installed a filtration cartridge and some plumbing associated with that cartridge on the oxygen generation system water loop in an effort to clean contaminants from that system. Today, Taz did a final leak check of all the connections he made, verified no leaks, and he went ahead and closed up the rack and buttoned up the system. Now engineers and flight controllers on the ground are going to reactivate the oxygen generation system and assess the performance of that filter cartridge. Let's see, in addition, of course, the EVA-4 crew plus Drew Feustel, who will be their IV, or the person orchestrating the spacewalk from inside the station, prepared for their EVA. Part of that preparation was swapping out the EMUs. So at the end of the day, we'll have Mike Fink's EMU and Greg Shamatov's EMU both in the airlock, ready to go for tomorrow's EVA-4, and then Drew Feustel's EMU, which he's done with for this mission, is in a configuration to return on the shuttle. In addition, of course, to the setup hardware, they did the procedure review, and they also got their tools reconfigured and ready to go. And as I was leaving the control center, the EVA crew was well ahead of the timeline and just doing their final procedure reviews and discussions before we put them to sleep for the night. Additionally, as we discussed yesterday, we plan to use the camp-out protocol for this EVA, and that's primarily due to the issue that we had on EVA-1 relative to Greg Shamatov's carbon dioxide sensor. So we're going to put Mike Fink and Greg Shamatov in the airlock overnight, and then in the morning we'll repress the airlock, bring them out, give them time for breakfast and personal hygiene, and then get them suited up and ready to go. In terms of EVA-4, just looking ahead to that tomorrow, as I said, the first activity involves actually stowing the OBSS on the station S1 truss. So the OBSS will be positioned by the station robotic arm in a position that Fink and Shamatov can actually grab it and place it on stanchions on S1. Once we do that physical connection on the S1 truss segment, the EVA crew will translate to P6, where they retrieve a power data grapple fixture, or PDGF, that's not in use. We'll bring that PDGF back to the OBSS, remove the existing grapple fixture, which is designed to interface with the shuttle arm, and replace that EFGF, as we call it, with a station PDGF, which can then be grappled by the station arm. end of the EVA, once all the OBSS related tasks are completed, we're doing some work on one of the spare SPDM arms that we actually launched on ELC3. There's fasteners on those arms that we're concerned with the thermal cycles on. The spares on the external truss of the space station naturally expand and contract as the thermal environment changes, and past experience with these particular fasteners has indicated that these type of thermal expansions may cause wear and tear on whatever piece of hardware is associated with these fasteners. So we're going to remove those from the SPDM arm in order to protect it down the road and make sure that it's not damaged as it waits on the truss for potential use in the future. And I think, Kylie, that's it for an overview if you want to take questions.